Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name's Brianna. I'm 2019's co-captain of gold medal winning Team USA Women's Dodgeball, and today I have another top 5 beginner mistakes that I see with newbies when they come to try out dodgeball. And I just started playing open gyms again now that dodgeball's slowly starting to come back. So I'm seeing a couple newbies show up to that, and I'm seeing some new mistakes that they're making. And so I want to point them out and hopefully help all of you new players out to avoid these mistakes. So let's jump right into it. Mistake number 1 is not paying attention to ball control and just throwing balls over to the opponent's side, even when the team needs balls on defense. So typically when you start to get a little more competitive, like outside of open gyms and just show up and play, you usually play ball control for like a strategy, which simply breaks down to you want to have 2 balls on defense, one on the left side, one on the right side, to help protect the team. The corners are holding the balls, right? But the newbie players don't necessarily know that, and so whenever they have a ball in their hand, if they see a shot, a lot of times they'll just take it, even if it's the last ball, and it tends to leave your team open on defense to just get demolished by the opponent's offense because you don't have any balls to protect the team with. So that is definitely a big one that I see with new players. So mistake number 2 is they get caught up at the line by themselves. And I usually see this during the transition from offense to defense. So their team will throw, they'll back up to the back line, and then the newbie will just kind of be standing up there still, whether it's at the center line or the neutral zone line, and they're kind of all by themselves and the team isn't really protecting them and they're just an easy shot. And a lot of that just comes down to there's 6 to 7 balls when you're playing dodgeball, depending on the rule set you're playing. And sometimes newbies come in and they're not counting how many balls are on each side. They don't realize that their team's on defense now and they don't back up. And so they get caught up at the line, an easy target and easy out. So just one thing for newbies to pay attention to is how many balls are on each side. And it can be overwhelming at first. So it's definitely helpful for veteran players to kind of tell them back up. Because a lot of times I see that their team does not say anything to them and they just get demolished at the center line. Mistake number 3 is newbies don't know how to throw dodgeballs because there's a lot of different variety, and I see this more so with foam than anything because the other balls have little weight. But I see a lot of newbies show up, they don't warm up or anything, and when they go to throw, it dirts, or they throw floaters that go right into people's pockets and they catch it. So this obviously isn't really a problem for baseball and softball players and other players from throwing sports because they're able to adapt and throw the ball pretty well. I usually don't see too much of a learning curve, but players that don't come from throwing sports, they definitely really struggle to throw dodgeball sometimes. It's deceivingly hard, especially the foam ball has such a light weight that it definitely has a learning curve. And then like 8.5 and cloth, those are really hard to hold. So I see a lot of newbies struggle and dirt the ball a lot. So I highly recommend, if you're newer to dodgeball, to show up a little bit early. A lot of times these leagues and these open gyms, they have balls laying around for you to warm up with. And I highly recommend you warm up and throw for a solid 5 to 10 minutes and get your arm prepared. That way when you actually go in the game, you're feeling a little more comfortable and you're less likely to throw dirts or air balls because you kind of honed in on how to throw the ball. Mistake number 4 is newbies tend to go for a dodge rather than a catch. And while dodging is an important aspect of dodgeball, and you do want to dodge sometimes over catching, I see a lot of newbies tend to not even go for the catches because they're too scared or intimidated. But the matter of the fact is, whether you dodge or you go for the catch, eventually you're going to get hit with the ball. And a lot of times newbies are afraid about getting hit, but no matter what you do, you're going to get hit. So why not square up and try going for catches? And I highly recommend to newbies who are afraid to go for catches, find a teammate, find a friend that's playing with you that night and have them slowly throw at you. Like slowly speed up their throw till eventually they're throwing full speed at you. Square up and try and go for that catch. You'll find it's not as scary as you think it is. And then in the game, just go for those catches. You'll find that it's much more rewarding than when you get that catch rather than when you make a cool dodge. Last but not least, the number 5 mistake I see beginners make is they hesitate. And they hesitate when they throw, and they hesitate just going up to throw in the first place. So I'll see a lot of newbies, they'll talk with a veteran player, and the veteran player will say, okay, let's throw it so-and-so on 3. And so it'll count 1, 2, 3. The veteran player throws, and the newbie's still standing there holding the ball because they're hesitated. They maybe saw someone on the opposite team pump faking at them or slowly scooting up to the line, and they got nervous and they didn't throw. And sometimes that can lead to their teammate throwing a catch because they don't have that second ball supporting them. I also see it where newbies hesitate to even go up to the throw line. So if there's only 3 balls on their side and so it's the newbie is supposed to throw, they'll like go to the neutral zone line and they'll just kind of stand there and like kind of pump faking, kind of not, and too afraid to throw. And sometimes that leads to them getting the whistle blown because they didn't throw within the throw clock and they have to give up all balls. So the hesitation, honestly, it just comes from being intimidated, which again is something that I pointed out in the previous mistakes video. And honestly, the only way to really get over it is to just kind of play more and get a little more comfortable on the court. So I hope you enjoyed this beginner mistakes video. Again, I did another video a while back with some other beginner mistakes, and I'll link in the description in case you're interested. And maybe you discovered, oh hey, I fall into this beginner mistakes category, I need to work on that, or whatever. Or maybe I missed one. If I did, drop it in the comments. Drop in the comments any other dodgeball topics you'd like me to cover. If you enjoyed this video, like it, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate the support, and I'll see you guys next week.